Zoro led the others, crashing into a door and nearly falling out of the castle. One of Yachist's subordinates pressed a button, tilting the floor downward, causing Nami and Zoro to fall. Sanji was fortunately saved by Robin. The movie begins with the Straw Hat crew discovering a treasure chest, which made all the members extremely happy. However, they didn't know how to bring it back when suddenly, a strong wind blew the tarp off their boat. It turned out the group was stranded on a small boat in the middle of a massive storm, while the Going Merry was being pushed farther away by the waves. Unsure of what to do, the small boat unexpectedly caught fire as a candle fell down. Luffy quickly stretched out his arm to grab the Going Merry and pulled the small boat toward it. Finally, the crew escaped the danger. Usopp used a key to open the chest, expecting treasure inside, but surprisingly, it was an old woman. The long-nosed Usopp quickly locked the chest again, while Luffy joked about throwing the chest into the sea. Usopp then asked why the old woman was inside the wooden chest, and she explained that her cruise ship had sunk, so she had to hide inside it. As for the treasure in the chest, she had thrown it all into the sea. The crew discussed whether they should abandon the old woman on a nearby island. Hearing this, she claimed to know of 2 other treasures and offered to guide them there. Nami suspected that the old woman was lying just to be taken home. After being threatened by Nami, the old woman revealed that the treasure she mentioned was called the Golden Crown, and only someone known as the King of the Sea was worthy of possessing it. Upon hearing this, Luffy became very excited and decided to trust her words. The old woman then brought out a compass leading to her homeland, and the Straw Hats hoisted their sails and began a new journey. After a long day at sea, the island finally appeared before them. This island, called Nethan, was a very peaceful and quiet place. Upon seeing a pirate ship approaching, a local resident reported it to the island's leader, Yachist. Immediately, the defense system was activated, and giant robots raised their bows toward the Straw Hats. Luffy stood on the bow of the ship, explaining that they were not there to cause trouble, but only to return the old woman home. It turned out that Yachist was the old woman's son. He piloted a plane toward Luffy and quickly rescued his mother. But before Luffy could fully explain, Yachist ordered an attack. The robots unleashed a barrage of arrows, causing Nami and Usopp to panic and nearly lose control. Zoro stepped forward and slashed all the arrows with a single strike. After this failed attack, one of Yachist's subordinates activated a large fan that blew the Going Merry far away. Feeling triumphant, the subordinate was caught off guard as the fan suddenly sucked in all the robots and shot them toward the Straw Hat crew, injuring Robin. Enraged, Robin subdued the subordinate. Although there were no casualties, the Going Merry was severely damaged, with its sails torn apart. Nami doubted the legend of the treasure, thinking it was a myth, but Robin disagreed, insisting the treasure was real as the locals had continuously sung about it. That evening, after a hearty meal, the crew relaxed and played on the deck. During their antics, Nami accidentally pushed Luffy into the railing, and he unexpectedly noticed the reflection of the island in the water, resembling a snake with 2 eyes. All of the Straw Hats' actions were being watched by Yachist from afar. He knew the crew was also trying to decipher the meaning of the song frequently sung by the locals. Yachist himself was struggling to decode the mystery. At this moment, Luffy repeatedly punched the eyes of the snake-like reflection, and, fortunately, when it was destroyed, a cave was revealed. Yachist was astonished by the Straw Hat crew's success and decided to exploit them to find the Golden Crown treasure. A little while later, the crew was invited into Yachist's castle. He made his entrance with a flashy and confident demeanor. Usopp, Chopper, and Luffy immediately rushed toward him with admiring eyes. Thinking they were impressed by him, Yachist began boasting, only to turn around and see that the 3 of them were solely focused on eating. Nami asked Yachist why he had changed his attitude toward them. Yachist went straight to the point and asked if the Straw Hat crew had deciphered the meaning of the song. Nami, still cautious, replied that they didn't know much yet, and that she wasn't foolish enough to risk her life for a treasure that might not even exist. Yachist then stated that he would assist the Straw Hat crew in their search for the treasure, and the profits would be evenly split between both sides. Suddenly, Yachist's mother appeared and told her son to stop dreaming about impossible things. Without much hesitation, Yachist activated a trap, causing his mother to fall into a pit. Nami declined the offer of cooperation, but Luffy, without hesitation, agreed. Somehow, the old woman returned, but shortly after, she was dragged away again. At that moment, Chopper heard someone calling him from the direction of the forest. The next morning, the group boarded Yachist's ship and began exploring a cave. Inside, it was completely dark, and an unexpected wave pushed the ship forward. The wreckage of old ships was scattered along both sides of the path. Ahead of them was a sharp stone wall with a narrow gap in the middle. Luffy came up with an idea. He broke a pillar, then stretched his arms toward a spinning fan and used it to propel the ship quickly through the narrow gap. After passing through the wall, the path ended with a waterfall. The ship was carried downward, but Sanji quickly created a shield using Luffy, who inflated himself like a ball to cushion the impact. Zoro then grabbed Luffy's hand, pulling both him and Sanji back onto the ship. However, the ship crashed into another wall and broke apart. Luffy climbed onto a rock ledge and was astonished to see a breathtakingly beautiful landscape in front of him. Robin read ancient inscriptions engraved on a stone, which mentioned something related to time and green water. Yachist's subordinate suggested that drinking water from the lake was necessary to uncover the solution. Luffy and Chopper actually did just that. The two of them ran to the lake and drank water until their bodies inflated like balloons. Then, Luffy climbed onto a stork-shaped statue to look around. Observant Nami noticed ancient symbols engraved on the legs of the statue and discovered that, in Japanese, the words time and stork had the same pronunciation. Angered, Nami ordered Luffy to climb down immediately. Startled, Luffy lost his balance and fell, causing the statue to topple into the lake. Zoro quickly jumped in to save Luffy, and this action accidentally triggered a mechanism that began draining the water from the lake. Robin wanted to explore the cave that had been revealed, while Luffy gleefully ran around and accidentally stumbled into a wall, getting himself stuck. Chopper followed Robin inside as he sensed something unusual, and Sanji escorted them to ensure their safety. Meanwhile, Zoro drew his sword and freed Luffy from the wall. Soon after, the meaning of the song's lyrics began to emerge, proving that Luffy's actions were not entirely useless. Nami used her weather baton to summon lightning, which struck a spear and caused sparks to scatter across the rocks. Robin's group, after passing through the cave, arrived at a mountain surprisingly surrounded by fossilized coral reefs. At the top, they found a strange circular shape and decided to venture inside. There, they discovered a historical stone, and Robin began decoding the island's ancient inscriptions. Meanwhile, Yachist revealed his true purpose. It turned out the entire island rested on the back of a giant turtle. Yachist had known this secret for a long time but didn't know how to activate the mechanisms. The first person to uncover this secret composed the song and shared it with the island's inhabitants. Yachist's goal was to conquer the world by controlling the giant turtle, and he had found a way to do so while declaring that the Golden Crown treasure didn't exist. Luffy, furious, insisted that the treasure was real. At that moment, one of Yachist's subordinates arrived by plane, dropped a few bombs, and took Yachist away. The turtle revealed that it had been calling out to Luffy ever since the crew set foot on the island. It told its leader that half of its children had died. During this time, Yachist entered the castle to control the mechanism. From afar, the castle began to transform, with tentacles sprouting everywhere. The Straw Hat crew emerged from the rubble after the explosion and saw the castle moving. Luffy was extremely excited. Yachist, feeling triumphant, received news of intruders. He immediately ordered his subordinates to stop them. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Chopper began advancing inside, while Usopp stayed behind, enthusiastically cheering them on. Hearing the turtle's words, Chopper wanted to go back and talk to it. Nami, Usopp, and Robin ran in, but a trap activated, causing all three to fall. Luffy's group was also thrown into the same area. Zoro tried to slash the wall to create an escape route, but slipped and nearly hit Sanji. This caused the two of them to start fighting. Suddenly, the butler pulled a lever, freeing Luffy's group. The old woman appeared and said she didn't know about this, but apologized on behalf of her son and asked the Straw Hats to hold back the turtle. Luffy agreed, as he wanted the turtle to take him to the treasure. All of this was overheard by Yachist, but he ignored his mother's advice. Luffy punched through the roof and followed a communication pipe to reach the control center. Yachist ordered his subordinates to block their path and use tentacles to cover the turtle's body to control it. Chopper realized that the turtle was awakening every 5 years. It would awaken to give birth. However, if the situation continued, the baby turtles would be in danger. After running for a while, Luffy got lost. Nami'S group noticed the outside was moving. Usopp ran out to check, while Zoro led the others, crashing into a door and nearly falling out of the castle. One of Yachist's subordinates pressed a button, tilting the floor downward, causing Nami and Zoro to fall. Sanji was fortunately saved by Robin. Zoro and Nami then fell into a high-speed train car, and the system sent them far from the castle. Nami wanted to stop the train, but a subordinate chased them from behind. Meanwhile, Sanji and Robin were searching for their crewmates, continuously facing traps. Another one of Yachist's subordinates appeared, wanting to face Sanji. At the same time, Luffy was trying to reach the command room. He climbed to the highest point of the castle, where Yachist appeared in a flashy suit of armor. The robotic arm attacked Luffy, grabbing him and attempting to drill into him. Luffy narrowly escaped, but the second arm struck, flinging him away. Yachist mocked, "Let's see if you can get out of this." Unexpectedly, the robotic legs were equipped with an all-terrain system, allowing him to resume his attack. Luffy rushed in, but was hit by a drill, causing him to fall from the castle. As Yachist gloated, Luffy's arms suddenly latched onto the machine. Luffy flew up, ripped off the tentacles, and delivered a powerful kick that destroyed the robot. Yachist parachuted to safety. Meanwhile, Zoro jumped off the high-speed train and slashed through the enemies with his sword. Sanji initially struggled against his opponent, but he refused Robin's help. In the end, Sanji delivered a powerful kick, sending the large foe crashing into a wall. Both then proceeded to the command center. Nami arrived at the place where Usopp was standing. She realized that the turtle needed to lay its eggs, but the castle kept forcing it to move. Yachist activated another machine, which looked very peculiar. He ran into the warehouse to start up another robot. Luffy chased after him, and Yachist summoned a robot to attack, forcing Luffy to back off. Yachist launched a robotic arm at him, but it was blocked. The rubber boy threw the arm into the drill, causing it to explode. Yachist continued to stomp on Luffy, but this time, Luffy used both hands to lift it up and delivered a blow that sent the robot flying. Sanji's group tried everything but couldn't stop the castle. Luffy apologized to the old woman because he was about to destroy it. The Straw Hat crew joined forces, and they finally succeeded. The turtle was no longer under control. Shortly after, the Straw Hat crew departed, though they still felt regret for not finding the treasure. Unexpectedly, Luffy discovered that the turtle eggshells were shaped like a crown. Who would have thought that this was the treasure the crew had worked so hard to find? Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if you think it's amazing. Visit my channel to check out more exciting videos. Thank you and see you again.